Alright guys, welcome back to BCS Germany, day 2 for Standard. Thankfully we've got a little bit of a different arrangement today, so hopefully the players will have a much easier time. A little bit, back might be a little blown out, but I'm going to have a co-caster joining me for round 2. So for this one, you have just me. Welcome everybody. In just a moment, we're going to be getting the players set up. I think they're almost ready to go. And as soon as we give them the go-ahead, we'll be able to resume the games and get started on this day. Obviously, yesterday we had Maxime taking the tournament by storm, winning his one event match. Shows up for one day in Cologne, or wins the BCS and just goes home. So at this point, we have a very, very exciting day. We just got the brand new deck sets for Harry and Iris, which we saw kick off yesterday. But hopefully today, we're going to get to see how they're going to shape the standard format going forward. And so, if we transition over to the main game, I believe the players are going to be good to go, and the game will be beginning shortly. Here we have Harpreet, who everybody should be familiar with at this point, as one of my co-casters for the season, playing what seems to be Messiah versus Darkseid. Am I looking at, is that a Chrono Jet starter? No, that is a Liael Odium starter, revealing the Liael Odium in the ride line, creating the Destined timepiece. Of course, this is a deck that came out recently in set 5 and has really been making waves, even without the promo, which we are now confirmed to be getting in late April, as a manga promo. Pete here going second, which is just what Messiah wants to be doing, and the legendary draw 3. Me when I discard a gun cycle and draw 3 cards going second. And then is Pete probably also drive checking it, just going to swing? Or actually, I think there's an argument here for Pete damage denying, only because one of the things that Odium can do really well if it goes first, if he's given the CB here, he can just bind the Anachronos Dragon, or gauge it rather, and then discard like a Destined timepiece, or a timepiece for Stride. I am blanking on the order name now. I'm going to be able to pull that up now. I believe the order I'm thinking of, the worst part is it's on the playmat. Like the second I hear it, I'm going to go, yep, that's the one. Distorted Bane, of course, is the order that we're going to be wanting to see in the order zone here. What's going to be happening here, most likely, is if he could, what he's going to be looking to do is discard it, gauge his Anachronos, but unfortunately that's not happening in this instance. So yeah, just going to gauge it, draw 2, then he's going to probably draw another one here. There we go. CB1 going to draw a card and Soul Charge 1. Yeah, the one impressive thing today, I believe, also I got the numbers for attendance, and I believe this might be, combined across the 3 days, one of the highest pop events ever in European Bushiroad games, full stop, not even just Vanguard. Because I know it's looking a little barren if you're looking at the stream, but actually there's 3 whole floors of event here, with, I believe, Shadowverse taking the middle stage, and the top one is just kind of fairly quiet, so it's mostly where we chose to set up. Yeah, you can see the duel in here coming out of Shirka, and Pete is just really not letting up. He's going to be sitting there, taking a second strike, trying to go first stride next turn. They're just going to go top 5, trying to build that board. Because one of the things the Messiah can do is he can thin the deck really well. And then the onus is on Shirika here to then have his Anachronos Dragons in order to be able to retire the things that Pete puts down. Because that's the one thing Messiah can struggle with sometimes. Sometimes he can struggle with recovering pieces if it encounters like a pretty heavy retire matchup. So it'll be interesting to see how he can keep up with it from this point. Okay, so for the 2 damage, going to go 20k. Does Shirka have the hand to keep dropping? Yes, he does. That's another critical trigger, and Shirka sitting calmly on 1 damage. I believe both players currently sitting on 1. To be fair, I think one of my favorite things at the moment in Stand is those character energy markers. I do think they look so nice. They actually go kind of crazy. Yeah, to my understanding, the region for Cologne is a little dead, but I think a lot of people are traveling from all over Germany to be here, and all over Europe, actually. A lot of Dutch players, a lot of Belgian players, and a lot of other, the kind of Munich to Austria crowd. A lot of that scene. Yeah, but if European Vanguard is anything right now, it's flourishing. And that's the second Distorted Vein coming down as well. And a Cronus Dragon sitting there. I reckon, yeah. You're really going to start swinging? Do you reckon? I reckon you're probably going to try and pop the Messiah here if you have the opportunity to. There we go. And yeah, and Shirika agrees. He's going to go Energy Blast 2. There you go, popping the Messiah. Swinging for what seems to be 28, I believe? Yeah, the rear guard. There you go. Pete Galaxy Tech says no guard. He goes first check, nothing. Second check, nothing. Third check. That's a critical trigger coming out. Pete's going to go straight to 3. Oh, and the over trigger. The over trigger coming out at this stage in the game is honestly not horrific for Pete. Because the one thing that Odium is able to do is if you're able to damage check OT on the turn that they're going to Divine Skill, like the fact that the power reset comes through can really, really disturb you. Especially disturb you as like the opposing player, as somebody who's going to have their power reset halfway into the turn, so you're going to lose that. So it's actually not terrible for it to come out of this stage in the game. But yeah, Pete's going to go straight into the Amnesty here. Yeah, going to be calling out. Yeah, behind the Vanguard, wants to make big, big columns. Got charges the gun cycle, so a lot of triggers still in circulation. Pete thinking on effect. Yeah, and Pete opting to get, there we go, locks the other front row. Yeah, and that's going to be the ladder coming out as well. More than resist, this is soul, which is something that Pete is going to want for this end. Because realistically, the thing with Messiah is its GB2 effect. Every single draw can really dictate how the game is going to go, because those very draws then decide if you're going to survive the next turn and really determine the course of any Messiah game at the moment. There you go, and yeah, Pete's committing a full wall there. We're going to be locking a couple of cards here, because at the end of the day, again, Pete wanting to lock as many as he can. There you go, going for the unlock, going for the restand. I think he's going to be thinking about where to give the power here. I think there's maybe a world where you try and give it to the Mikani just to have another hitting column, but maybe try, yeah, there you go. Power to the Mikani, going to go plus 10. First check, nothing. Second check, critical trigger coming out. And third check, that's going to be a Destiny dealer. Yeah, that's going to be 2 damage coming out. Ooh, 2 non-triggers, and that's really tricky, especially in the Crest matchups. Really, really tricky here. Yeah, unfortunately with D-Sacrifice, going to 4 also, I mean, the defensive wouldn't matter here. I guess I suppose you're happy not seeing it, but I really, really hope Shirika here has access to 1 more Distorted Vein. Yeah, it's going to be to the bind zone. Really unfortunate. Really unfortunate to start having your Anachronos bound. Yeah, and Pete just casually drawing 5 cards here. And that's just one of the things with stride decks. Like, once you start striding, some games really do just end before they begin. You know, there was a kind of a world there where Lucky Trigger or 2 really does take Shirika out of this game entirely before he even writes Grade 3. Which, that's a scary place to be in. But I'm actually interested in seeing kind of Rose and Harry coming in today, because we saw them make an impact in Japan, but there's also some cards that we don't really have available for us. And because Love and Berry isn't quite around yet, and Vispo isn't quite around, I wonder how the format's going to shape up around them in the English format. You know, of course, one of the benefits of the delay between us and Japan, or Japan and us rather, is the fact that we have that extra time to work on these formats mean we have the opportunity to solve them a little bit more and test them a little more. So I'm kind of hoping we get to see some special unique lists today. And of course, I want to also thank the special guest we have today. I believe it's Izumi Kita, the voice of Senka Kanae from Vanguard Divines Season 2. We got her downstairs doing a signature meetup, I guess. I'm not quite sure what the correct term for that is. But obviously, all of those big fans of her from her role in Divines and as Misaki Tokura from Season 1 of the anime can come and get her signature from both Cologne, if you're here, or if you're going to be in Cardiff in just 2 short weeks. Yeah, Liael Odium just sitting there, just playing its own game out. Yeah, gonna be swinging. Is he gonna go for the Energy Blast too? Probably. Oh no, he can't. He has under ladder. Yeah, Pete gets to play this really, really safe. He's just focused on surviving. Yeah, but unfortunately, no Distorted Bane proc this turn is really rough. Because there's no Persona, no Distorted Bane buff, this really does grind it a bit to a halt. Which is something that Odium normally can't really afford to do. So this is going to be a hard one for Shirika to try and come back from. Fast check, that is a heal trigger, that's huge. Heal trigger is massive here. Especially next turn where Pete could over trigger coming out, the red over trigger. All affects Lemina. It's going to be 2 swings, going to be staring down, and a perfect guard coming in. Oh my gosh. Not the scariest because of the lack of trigger, but that could be really scary there. If that had a critical on it, Pete would be sweating. Although with a hand that big, odds of Pete is sitting on a PG, so the red OT at least confirms the 2 damage here. Heals down, and that's really important, because now Pete is somewhat disincentivized from going into his Excelix turn, even though this might be a little early, only because... Oh, is he considering it? No, he's going straight for that Excelix. Yeah, he wants to threaten that OT, that crit for game. That is fantastic gameplay coming out of Pete here. Yeah, locking that Lemina. Yeah, getting rid of the intercept here. Again, in Caress matchups, every 5k counts. So I think you're kind of nervous if you're Shirika right now. You know, you had some good draws, but are those going to be enough? Because I feel like you perfect guard the Vanguard here, but from there it's it's all up to chance. He's going to be taking on straight to 5. Oh, is that? No, sorry, that's just 4. There we go. Yeah, it's a bit hard to tell with a solid sleeve sometimes. Yeah, swinging again. Shirika's just confirming numbers. Trouble is the Vanguard is going to get a critical, but going to 4 does mean he cannot, under any circumstance, take the Vanguard. But that, again, that is probably going to be eating the PG here, so we'll see how that works out. He's going to take it. He's going to go to 5. Excelix going to be swinging, unlocking most of the board, I'm sure, and then restanding the front row as well. Excelix going to become huge. And I believe also getting a critical here. Excelix Messiah. Again, this might be Messiah's kind of last hurrah before its next support in set 6. Yeah, Excelix standing everything and giving the front row plus 10k and itself getting a critical, sorry. Going to be really scary to see if Shirika can quite manage to put this one up. Oh, he's going to be able to guard the last attack. Last hit there. He does. He has the perfect guard. Absolutely fantastic play out of Shurika here. Surviving the turn. And Harpreet's going to end his turn, unlocking 3. Soul Blasting only 2 this time. And now we got to wonder if that's going to be enough to survive the turn. You know, the lack of the Distorted Bane last turn, one of the big things it did for Shurika is it made his turn, his Divine Skill turn, only be able to come at least here instead of last turn. And who knows, maybe a Divine Skill last turn would have been able to make that difference repeat and really push him. But I suppose we'll never know. There you go, and he's going to be milling. That's going to be the Distorted Bane being milled. Again, just a reminder for everybody, the Distorted Bane, of course. The main gimmick for Liael Odium, when it's played, when it's played from hand rather, you may soul charge 1 and your Vanguard gains 10k and you draw a card. And the most important thing is your Vanguard effect, Liael Odium, the Destined One of Time, I believe. The main gimmick for Odium is that she gives your front row rear guard specifically plus 5k per Destined timepiece in your gauge. So Pseudo Persona Ride is really, really important here. And because she can gauge from field or drop, or hand rather, sorry, it means that when next turn she can gauge her Anachronos, if she's able to discard a Distorted Bane, next turn when the Anachronos comes out of the gauge, she can then bind it and then give her Vanguard 10k, so it's like, again, Pseudo Persona Ride on the turn where you can't Persona Ride, which is really, really important. Going to be Anachronos again. Never stop retiring. Keeps taking those 2Ks, those 5Ks away, those grade 2s. Wanting to make sure Pete is forced to use that hand up. That's the thing with one of the decks that doesn't use energy too much. Messiah has a lot of leeway in terms of using gun cycles. Liael Odium is going to be swinging. No effect. Ooh, I don't know how I feel about no effect. No effect feels rough. That's the Destined timepiece, but yeah, I don't think we saw. Do we have the 5 engage? Unless you put the Destined timepiece at the bottom, but. For the NGT, going to be popping that great. They're going to be popping all of his beaters. Because yeah, on 2 sacrifice, I don't think there's really any point in ever popping them. There you go. And yeah, Pete unable to guard that. Seems to have a lot of cards in hand, but I think he's able to do much next turn, so it seems to be a bit more of a wash. And unfortunately, that's going to be the end of round 1. I think we're going to have to double check a couple of things, hopefully try and get a dedicated judge on him. I think there was a couple of moments there where we were a bit odd, but we'll get them looked at in just a moment. But guys, we're going to a quick little break, and we'll see you in just a moment for round 2. Just bear with us. We're going to try and get something to have a quick look at this. We'll see you in just a moment.